What is going on, folks? I am Goat. Welcome to the breakdown. NFC and AFC conference championship games. I got no notes for this because there's no fucking need. Okay? I'm sorry if I look glitchy or weird movement or anything. I don't know what's going on with my camera, but it is what it is. So, obviously, just the two games, just the four top teams to beat all the others. Playing down to the end of the Lord of the Rings, the one ring to rule them all kind of category, right? Well, this was the one ring to rule them all for each conference to go fight each other in the Super Bowl. What an ordeal, right? What a fucking ordeal. First game, Bengals against my hometown Chiefs. And as much as I want to say I'm disappointed, I'm also not surprised. Okay, that's the truth of it. I'm really not. If nothing else, the Bengals have done something this season that was very surprising to me. They've been an absolutely amazing second half adjustment team. Okay, they really have. The first game with the Chiefs was 100% proof of that, because I believe they went in at the exact same fucking score. I want to say it was 21-10, or at least was an 11-point deficit for sure. But the Chiefs looked like the Chiefs in the first half. They just did. They looked great. They looked great on offense. They looked great on defense. They looked like they had a complete handle of that game and that they were going to run away with it. And at the very end of the first half, the first sign of trouble showed up. And it was honestly a stupid fucking call. Like, you've got like 3 or 4 seconds left on the clock. I want to say it was 3. And you throw the ball like a screen, almost like a wide receiver screen, but you throw the ball out to the flat 3 yards outside of the fucking end zone with the expectation that your receiver is going to beat like 4 fucking secondary players, or a linebacker and 3, a linebacker, 2 safeties, and a corner that are all at the 1 yard line. No. So it's highly questionable, but it was one of those, hey man, they're fucking risking it for the biscuit. It's okay. It's fine. They're being the Chiefs in the second half. If they come out looking like that, they're going to be great. And then they came out from the second half, and I mean to tell you, the Bengals completely changed their defensive scheme. Okay, first of all, they absolutely completely changed up their defensive scheme. They went to just a pure 3-man rush. I think they only blitzed like twice the entire second half. If they blitzed at all in the second half, they may not have. But they did not throw a ton of pressure in Mahomes' face, because running a 3-man rush does this, okay? Because a lot of people, there's some people that just don't understand, like, why would you throw 3 against 5? Or potentially 3 against 6? Well, the reason being is because if there's only 11 players on the field and only 3 of them are rushing the quarterback, what's your number in the secondary, right? Right? You're talking 8 fucking people in the secondary. And you've got 6 on your team that are stuck at the line of scrimmage or behind, being the quarterback and the 5 linemen, which means you've only got 5 out in coverage, or out to play receiver at best case scenario. So you've got 8 guys guarding 5 guys. It's, it's simple 3-man rush scheme. Basically you're daring the quarterback to fucking do something stupid. And, well, Mahomes delivered in this one. He dropped an absolute goose egg half. Just enough to get everything, just like the previous game, back in the scoring position and kick a field goal and take it to overtime, and then a completely unnecessary fucking play. Okay, his deep pass attempt to Tyreek Hill looked like it was going to be game over. We're going to, at least kick a field goal, but I doubt we're going to do that, because we're going to try to keep moving the ball down the field and just score a touchdown and win the game, just like last week, because it's the Chiefs, right? No. Throws into double coverage, and Eli Apple, the corner for the Bengals, has a hell of a heads-up play, sticks his hand right in between Tyreek Hill's hands, deflects the fucking ball, and I swear to God, it was the most perfect deflection. Right into, I want to say it was one of their safeties, just knocked this ball right into his belly. Interception. Bengals drive down the field, dick around with the clock. I mean, almost like a dog playing with their food, and get down just enough to get in the field goal range, set the ball where they want it, and let McPherson, their kicker, who has been just a dynamite kicker, let him kick the game-winning field goal. Offensively and defensively, the Bengals have just been amazing at second half adjustments. And obviously what this game showed, very simply, was that the Chiefs second half adjustments in comparison to the Bengals second half adjustments were ridiculously different. What changed, the two things, okay, there's two things that absolutely just killed the Chiefs game. For one, the defense it looked like they were just completely caught off guard and ill prepared for what the fuck was about to get thrown at them. You know, so they didn't use Jamar Chase as much this time because we were just blanketing him. But that literally left everyone else open, and that's exactly what they did, is they used everyone else. I mean, that's good planning, but they did that the whole game. We just made good stops when needed in the first half. The second half, they just looked completely ill-prepared to play the fucking game. They just did. The Chiefs defense, which has been very stout up until the last Bengals game. I mean, they'd only been letting opponents score 17 or less points per game, and then all of a sudden the Bengals came in and ended up scoring 31, I want to say. I'm almost positive it was 31. Pretty sure. Either way, it was above 30. Almost positive. Either way, they came in and scored way more than any other team had, and then the Chiefs defense started kind of relaxing like they were at the first of the year, and they were allowing opponents to score a hell of a lot more, which translated into the postseason. You know, I mean, the Steelers game wasn't stupid high scoring, but the fucking Buffalo game sure as hell was, and the Bengals game sure as hell was. It was just a very unpleasant game to watch, not even from a fan standpoint as far as it being my home team, but just it was a true implosion from one team and an absolute moment of pissing excellence by the other. So as hard as it is to say as a fan, at the same time, as a fan of the game, the right team is going to the Super Bowl. That's how much I can say. 100%. That's 100% what I can say. It's just sportsmanship. I'm not going to sit here and bitch and piss and moan about, you know, missed calls, okay? Because there were a lot of them, but there were a lot of them on both sides. I don't want to hear any bullshit otherwise. There was a lot of missed pass interference calls. There was only like, I think 2 or 3 total that were called. There was a fuck ton of holding calls that were not called on both teams. I mean, this ref crew was very relaxed as far as what they were calling. There was only, you know, scrimmage plays, like, you know, down in the trenches where they were calling the horse shit, you know. I don't know. The Bengals were the better team at the end. That's exactly, and again, it does not surprise me, because the other thing that killed the Chiefs' opportunity in this was Mahomes. Mahomes acted like his offensive line was shit. Instead of doing what he did during their winning streak, okay, instead of doing what he did in their winning streak and taking what the defense gave him, which they weren't giving him much, but there were plenty of opportunities. Going back and watching the game a couple of times now, there were plenty of opportunities. There were open receivers, whether it was a running back, whether it was Kelsey, whether it was Hill, whether it was Pringle, whether it was fucking D-Rob, it doesn't fucking matter. There were open receivers on quite a few plays, but there were also a lot of really good blanketed coverage plays. But Mahomes was running around like he was at the Super Bowl last year, very inconcise, very very much feeling pressure that wasn't quite there. And he got away, although they did assign a spy to basically keep an eye on him in the second half, which they did not do in the first, which did help. Mahomes has juked dudes before, so even making an attempt to, you know, run a fucking ball rather than take a sack or maybe throw an interception is not a bad idea. Even so, you get a shoestring tackle because you try to juke a dude. Okay, it is what it is. It's not like Mahomes is like super athlete when he runs. He looks like a little kid with a stick up his ass when he runs, which is funny. It's no knock. It's just funny. But I don't know, man. Mahomes, it's like something in his head just fucking imploded for that game. And Joe Burrow was quite the opposite. He looked like he just wasn't ready for the game when it started. And by the end of the game, he was poised, calm, and ready to rock. So, I don't know, man. I mean, the Chiefs look great in the first half, and they look like ass in the second half and overtime. That's just the truth. So, yeah, final score was 27-24. Bengals are the AFC Conference champion. Second game. I knew this motherfucking game was going to be interesting just because of the two previous meetings. 49ers at Rams. So the San Francisco 49ers went in doing very much what they do on a regular basis. Utilize Jimmy Garoppolo as little as possible. I mean, 30 pass attempts, I think. Let's look. Like I said, I didn't even take notes, man. I mean, with it only being 2 games. Yeah, 30 pass attempts. He only completed 16 of them. Granted, he got 232 yards, but that was a shit ton of yard after catch. Believe me, that was a shitload of yard after catch. I mean, we're talking Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Eli Mitchell, George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, Jermichael Hasty, Travis Benjamin, which Travis Benjamin didn't even get any yards receiving. I don't even know why they're showing him as targeted. It says 0 of 0. They're putting him on the list. Whatever. So, but I mean, Deebo Samuel, 4 catches for 72 yards, so an 18-yard average. Brandon Ayuk, 4 catches for 69 yards, 17.2 average. Eli Mitchell, 3 catches for 50 yards, 16.7 yard average. George Kittle, 2 catches, 27 yards, 13.5 average. Now, Kittles were both pretty decently, thrown, and, I mean, like, Kittle is the guy that they should be targeting. Him and Deebo in bad situations, which is one thing the 49ers put themselves in offensively, is bad situations. But I mean, we're talking fucking 50 yards rushing compared to 232 yards passing against that Rams team. And somehow, this went into the second half as a 49ers 10, Rams 7 lead. Like, what? What the fuck? I can tell you this. I saw a few things. The 49ers defense has definitely shored up from what it looked like at the beginning of the season when I was kicking them in the dick, because they had me concerned that they weren't even going to get near the postseason how they were playing early. And they actually finished out way better than what I was giving them credit for up until about week 15. I will say that. I honestly thought they were just going to fall on their face. I was waiting for the implosion, and they didn't do it. So it is what it is. The Rams, starting the season, stacked roster, but then added Von Miller, brought Eric Weddle out of retirement, out of 2 years of retirement, and stuck him right on the field for the fucking divisional game, which Weddle, I love that dude. That dude is he's such a likable guy. He's such a good player. And the fact that he retired and then came back 2 years later and was ready to be put on the field within days is a true testament to that dude's core workout thought and his core drive. But they bring back Eric Weddle out of retirement. They bring Von Miller from the Broncos. They brought OBJ from the Browns, Odell Beckham Jr. And honestly, what made this game, truthfully, what made this fucking game was 3 fucking players on offense and 2 on defense. Okay. Rams offensively, Matthew Stafford. Never thought I'd be saying that. Matthew Stafford, Rams headed to the Super Bowl. Crazy. Matthew Stafford, OBJ, and Cooper Kupp. Holy fucking shit. That is a deadly combination. as far as the passing game is concerned. That is a deadly combination. Now, Sony Michel and Cam Akers were definitely doing their thing out there, but not insanely. It was more of an intimidation tactic, honestly, because they weren't really trying to run the ball. I mean, what they have, 23, 28, 29 rushing attempts total through 4 guys. 29 rushing attempts through 4 guys, and they hit 48, 58, 64, 72 yards total, or I'm sorry, 70 yards total rushing. But they had 337 in the air. Yeah, they had more offensive passing yards, I think, than the fucking 49ers had total offense. Yeah, they did. The 49ers total offense was 282 yards. The fucking Rams passing yards was 326 is what the actual stat says. This came down to efficient playing, okay? The Rams have been owned by the 49ers because of inefficient play. Kyle Shanahan is the one thing he is as a coach is that he puts his staff together as such to where they thrive off of inefficient play. If you play inefficiently on offense, his defense is going to exploit that. If you play inefficient defense, his offense is going to exploit that in whatever way. Now, Kyle Shanahan is very much stuck in his own running scheme style defense. A zone running scheme offense. So it's run first or screen pass, but then pass later. That's why I still say Jimmy Garoppolo is not the guy for that team. You need a good, solid running threat RPO quarterback in that position if you're going to try that horse shit, and stick with that scheme, because that scheme can be very easily played if that's literally all you play. Bosa, for the defense on the 49ers, played a lights out game. Okay. And we'll get back to the Rams defense in just a moment. But Bosa on the 49ers defense was absolutely lights out. I mean, he was fucking relentless on Stafford. He was relentless on their running backs, which is why their running backs didn't get a shit ton of yardage. And it's not just like Bosa did every play and everybody else was just standing out there with their thumb up their ass, but that dude has got a motor. You know, just like his brother. It's like the Bosa family and the Watt family. I swear to God, they just bred up these big corn-fed motherfucking giant fucking defensive players that are just ready to kill a motherfucker. The Bosa family and the Watt family, their parents should be very proud, because those boys at all their age ranges are exceptionally good defensive football players, without question. They are just mean motherfuckers to go against. But it's like the rest of the defenses. I mean, there's one of the defensive linemen on the 49ers, for the life of me, I cannot remember his name, but the tackle, he was actually playing really good as well, because they were keeping the pressure on Stafford. They really were. He didn't exactly have a clean pocket the whole game. But truthfully, the only real threat that the 49ers really offered up towards the Rams was Deebo Samuel. It really was. You know, I mean, like, again, Brandon Ayuk, no knock against Brandon Ayuk. Very good receiver. Eli Mitchell, very good running back. You know, George Kittle, extremely good fucking tight end. These are 4 players that are very good on that offense. But they literally just lay their entire scheme on Deebo Samuel. You know, I mean, for fuck's sake, he's playing special teams, returning balls. He's playing as a running back, even though he's a receiver. He's also playing as a fucking receiver. I mean, he's like the ultimate all-purpose player, and they just literally laid that game on his back. And that poor man, when they lost the game, just was sitting there on the bench with a towel over his head, with OBJ talking to him, trying to console him. The poor guy literally carried the game because their quarterback was just extremely ill-prepared. I mean, barely over 50% pass completion. Come the fuck on, man. And like the game of your life. I don't blame Garoppolo so much because he's just not a good fit on that team. He's just not. So to the Rams defense, though, the two players that I was speaking of quite specifically that were really just monstrosities. Aaron Donald, as you would expect. Now, no knock on Von Miller, no knock on anybody else on that defensive line or any of the linebackers whatsoever. But I'm going to tell you right now, Aaron Donald was just ripping through being double teamed on the line and just disrupting fucking plays. And then Jalen Ramsey, even though he did fuck up some plays, he showed up when he needed to. So final score of this game was 49ers 17, Rams 20. I mean, what else do you say? The Rams did exactly what they needed to win, and now they're off to the Super Bowl. This is going to be an interesting fucking game. You've got an excellent second half adjustment team game, and then team in the Bengals, and then you've got a very dynamically built Rams team going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, this is going to be good. I hope it ain't just some one-sided blowout. So I don't know. We'll see. So folks, thanks very much for watching the breakdown. As always, catch you next one.